Have you ever started a project for your business that just didn't quite go as planned? Maybe the outcome wasn't what you expected, or maybe you learned something that sent you down a rabbit hole that completely changed the course of your business. This exact scenario has happened to me more times than I could count. And today I want to share with you one particular project that has had a much bigger impact on my business than I ever expected. Welcome to the Online Business Launchpad podcast. I'm your host, Trudy, and I bring you stories, tips, and advice based partly on my experience, but especially tips and advice from other online entrepreneurs who are finding success, because if they've done it, so can you. I've been running my own online business for more than 8 years, and with a few pivots and bumps and successes of my own along the way. It's been a really interesting time. And over the last few years, I've become really passionate about helping people build and grow the online side of their business to the size that they want. I've worked closely with over 100 people, helping them get started from scratch, especially people who, because of life circumstances, need a flexible work from home option that helps them pay the bills. And I've worked with hundreds more people too, helping them grow the online side of their existing business. And my mission is simple. I want to show you how to solve the challenges you face as an online business owner so you can have more choices in how you live your life. So if you're ready to, once again, dive into online business building and you want to know what I've been working on and how it's impacted my business, stick around. Way back in 2019, I partnered with a friend and colleague to build a content-based website. Now, it was for women who were starting or were in the menopause phase of their life, and they were wondering what the heck was going on. And I've talked about the menopauseeffect.com website before. And today I want to bring you up to speed with what's happening, what I've learned along the way, and how it's changed the trajectory of my longer-term business goals. But first, let's talk a little bit more about the goals that we originally had for the website. We had some personal goals. One of them was to hone our quiz funnel and our website building skills. We wanted to get better at what we were doing. And we wanted to get better at writing website, email, and blog post copy. And for our website visitors, we had some goals as well. We wanted them to know that they're not alone on their menopause journey. We wanted them to be able to share their journey, what they're struggling with and what they've tried, what worked and what didn't. And we wanted them to be able to learn from other women's journeys about what worked and what didn't. And we wanted them to be able to have a bit of fun while they were doing that, because a lot of times menopause symptoms create a bit of misery in your life and it's just not a lot of fun. So it's nice to be able to have a bit of a laugh. And we did deliberately decide that we were going to think about monetization later, because we weren't exactly sure how we were going to do that. But we did know that we wanted to collaborate with other businesses and experts in the menopause space. And using affiliate links, we wanted to point people to courses, apps, services, products that would make life less miserable for people impacted by menopause symptoms, including the partners of people who are going through the menopause, because they have a tough time of it as well. Now, both my colleague and I had been through the menopause journey, and both of us had really, truly struggled. And we felt that that struggle was completely unnecessary in this day and age. So we had a cracking good go at getting things started. We got the website set up. We created a great quiz to go with it. And we put together a really short email nurture sequence that we were going to add to. That was the plan. We were going to add more emails to it. And we did create a bunch of blog posts. And then, just like a lot of projects, life intervened, and we both got really super busy, and we basically stopped working on the project. But it was always at the back of my mind as an unfinished project that really did have a lot of potential, and I felt like that potential was just going to waste. So I finally sat down with my colleague and we chatted about options for how we could just move things forward. And one way potentially to move things forward was actually for us to sell the website. And of course, we both liked that idea. We thought, well, we wouldn't have to worry about it anymore, and maybe we'd get some nice piles of cash into the bargain. So we worked on that for a little bit, and then we did have a potential buyer, but that fell through when their business had a run of bad luck, and the business owner had to refocus her budget on essentials only. And that was the end of our dreams of selling. So the website went back up on the shelf, and it didn't get a lot of time or attention for nearly 2 years. It wasn't forgotten, but it didn't get much love either. But it just kept nagging at me So when my business got to the point where I was able to carve out a bit of spare time, I decided to work on the whole business model again and figure out how I was going to make this thing work. So I started learning more about Google AdSense ads and how you can generate small amounts of revenue by letting Google Ads, sit on your website. And that was a whole education in itself. The biggest thing I learned sort of seems rather obvious in hindsight, but I learned that the more traffic you have to your website, the more people will see ads. And the more people that see ads, the more pennies will roll in from Google, albeit very slowly, because Google has a payout minimum of $100, at least for my website it does. So if it's only pennies rolling in, and it was, then it takes a really, really long time to actually get to the payout point. But still was worth doing, so kept working on that. And I also started learning about search engine optimization, or SEO. And I started to finally get a vague inkling of what a website content strategy is, or could be, or should be. But I didn't have enough of an inkling to really do anything with that knowledge yet. But I did tuck it away in the back of my mind and let it percolate. And I did lots of thinking about this site. But thinking is the operative word here, because despite all the learning I was doing, the only real action I took was to set up those Google AdSense ads. And that was fun because I did enjoy tracking that and seeing how it was going. And as I say, watching the pennies roll in and figuring out what would actually make them roll in faster. But I really didn't do anything else more than that. And by this time, my colleague was off on other projects and she wasn't interested anymore in the website. So we talked about it and she graciously gifted me her share of it. And I started getting more serious about what actions I would take to get the improvement ball rolling again. So fast forward to late 2022, when one of Google's several updates hit without warning, and traffic to the menopauseeffect.com website just fell off a cliff, as did any ad revenue. In fact, the ad revenue flatlined. And when it went 3 months in a row with no revenue, no ad revenue, and hardly any traffic to speak of, I realized that it was a dying website and only drastic attention and action was going to help resurrect it. And that thinking about it and learning about it just wasn't going to cut it. I needed to actually do something. So this was when I started to get really serious about SEO. And Graham Knight, who's a fellow SBI Pro community member, graciously agreed to do an SEO audit of the Menopause Effect website and help me start to put together sort of like a minimum viable content strategy for it. And I talked to Graham about that in episode 118 of this podcast, and I'll put the link to that episode in the show notes. Now, at this point, I still didn't really get the whole SEO optimized content strategy process. I knew why we needed it. I could see how it worked, but I didn't really have it worked out for this particular website or for any of my websites, to be honest. Like I said, I knew why it was important, but not really how to implement it. But I took action anyway, because for me, the real way that I learn is by doing. And I confess, it's the slow way, but trying and failing and trying again is how I learn best. And that kind of learning sticks with me. And it wasn't long before I had some specific actionable things that I could do to start achieving the original goals for the website. So by now, the overall goal was to renovate what was now a neglected website and get it to start generating ad revenue again. But I also wanted to reach those wider goals, which was to help women who are going through menopause. Now, the tactics to achieve sort of both of those goals, both the short and long-term goals, were to be more strategic about SEO. I needed to put an SEO optimized content strategy in place, a full one, not just a minimum viable one. And I needed to start creating that SEO optimized content. It was really important that I start to add in affiliate links, as well as more internal and external links, and to be more strategic about growing the email list. And really importantly, I needed to learn how to get backlinks for the website and how to raise the authority score for the website, because that helps in your rankings with Google. And, that sounds really great, doesn't it? But it was all easier said than done. I was still at the very beginning of an extremely steep learning curve around SEO and content strategies. But once again, this time I didn't wait around. I started taking action, little steps that would start basically moving the needle little bit by little bit by little bit. So I found a content writer with expertise in the health space, and I got her to start creating pillar posts, which is a really fundamental part of a content strategy. I learned more about SEO and how to use more than just the throw it up and hope it sticks method for increasing my rankings. I started learning about Google search ads, which are completely different to Google AdSense ads. Google search ads are where you're paying Google to send traffic to your website based on specific keywords. And that's been a learning journey, but it's been very useful. And I learned how AI could help me better understand who my audience is and how to write prompts that are going to give me back helpful information and not rubbish or outright inaccuracies, because I tried to get it to help me with some research, and you have to be really careful because it makes up facts, which you have to check. And then if they're not real, then you have to take them out of your blog post. So that was painful, but very useful process to go through to know what I could use AI for and what I shouldn't rely on it for. Another thing that I did was I started to immerse myself in the world of content strategy much more deeply, and learning how to put a good one together. And I want to give a shout out here to Teresa Edmond from Boss Responses. She runs a really amazing boot camp that teaches small business owners and writers how to do content strategies right. And by right, I mean ones that are effective. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well. And I also got better at tracking results using Google Analytics and Google Search Console, which helped with making better use of SEO to generate content that people were interested in and found useful. That's really important. And then I learned more about how to use my email service provider to engage people who signed up to my email list, although that didn't go quite so smoothly as I'd hoped, because I found out that my quiz, the way I had set it up, was sending people to MailChimp. And when my colleague and I decided that I would just work on it by myself, we had set things up so that the emails were supposed to go from ConvertKit. And I was sending emails from ConvertKit, but all of the leads were going into MailChimp. So hello, I was missing out on leads. But that was just another opportunity to learn, because I discovered that I could use Zapier to transfer the leads from one email service provider to another. And it's not perfect, and it's something I'm still working on, but it's better than nothing at this stage, and it is working, although it's a little bit painful. Now, I could keep going about the things that I've learned, but I'm just going to mention the most important one and then talk more about it in my next case study update. The most important thing I learned, or realized is probably more like it, that if I am going to be successful at buying existing websites, which is another project I'm working on, and then improving those websites, then doing the Menopause Effect website rejuvenation project is a really, really great way to see what works and what doesn't, what processes are needed to create content or to commission content, figuring out what I can do and what I need others to help with, etc. And doing that is helping me avoid expensive mistakes when I'm looking at other websites to buy and to improve. So that's sort of been a lot of talking, but just to summarize, where have things got to with the Menopause Effect website now that I finally started taking action, tangible action? Well, my AdSense ads are starting to perform on a consistent basis. Instead of going a day here, a day there, a day there, it now is starting to be much more regular. And website traffic is up 30% on average, admittedly from a very low base, but hey, it's progress. And the number of link clicks from that traffic is slowly but steadily increasing. So people are clicking on the affiliate links in the articles that they're reading, and then they're going to have a look at what it is that I had mentioned. And that's been really good. The number of people clicking is increasing, which is a really good, strong sign of life. And I've been able to send out one email a month for most of 2023. It's not enough, I know, but it is a start, and it does help get people to go back to the website and read articles or blogs that weren't there when they first signed up. I now have clear goals for the website and clarity on tasks. And a really important thing that I've been doing is I've been talking to people about the website and asking them for feedback on what's helpful about it and what they'd like to see that's not there yet. And so that's given me a much better idea of what needs to be done. So it's helped with my future planning. And as I mentioned, I've learned a ton of new skills, which I'm actually now putting to work all through my business and the other websites that I'm working on. And right at the moment, I have about 4 that I'm working on. And I'm slowly getting more good quality content up on the website, which means people are getting more value from it. They're more likely to share it, and they're more likely to come back again next time. I'm also getting more internal, external, and affiliate links, which helps SEO. And it's still a work in progress, but like I said, I'm tracking the number of clicks on those links, and it is steadily increasing. I've now got a content plan in place that will get me through the next quarter. And I have to say that Teresa, Edmond's amazing mastermind members are helping me put together a much more coherent content strategy, which is really, really exciting. They're not doing all the work. I still have to do a lot of work on it, but just their thoughts and input when they're having a look at what's there has just been really, really helpful. So what do I want to focus on next for this next phase of working on rejuvenating, renovating this website that's been neglected for so long? I'm going to keep on adding content that readers find helpful. I'm going to start sending out more emails. At the moment, like I said, it's a broadcast once a month, and it's just not really enough. It helps people remember that it's there, but it's really not enough to drive traffic to the website the way it needs to be. I need to make the information architecture of the site just a little bit more user-friendly. And I want to beef up the authority of the website. And if possible, I want to find a health practitioner or someone with expertise in menopause management and partner up with them. You know, I bring the website, they bring the expertise. Together, we have something that's quite a unique and special package that we can offer to people in terms of just the information that's there on the website. I want to search out more opportunities to promote other people's products that are going to help reduce the impact that menopause can have. And I'm particularly interested in products or services that help people in menopause take back control of their menopause journey so that they can have more control over who they want to be when they're on the other side of menopause. In other words, you kind of go through a whole shakeup of who you are. And it's nice to be able to say, well, right now I don't know kind of who I am, I'm changing, but I'd really like to be that person, and therefore I'm going to take specific steps to be that person. So I'm looking for products that can help with that side of things. And finally, I'm pretty keen to document my current content creation process, streamline it, and hand it over completely to one of my team members. That would be amazing, because not only could I do it for the Menopause Effect website, but I can do it for all of my websites. And that's going to be a huge lift for my business and free up time for me to work on the strategic stuff that I'm really good at, things like helping people build quizzes that help blow up their own businesses in a good way, and just being strategic about that. So that's a bit of a summary. It's helping me get to the place where I'm going to free up my time where I can be strategic. I've learned a ton of stuff, and I've applied what I've learned to the rest of my business. And that's one of the major impacts that it's had. It's also helped me realize that I can actually build a portfolio of content-based websites, because I now have the skills and know what I need to do to be able to buy them and improve them. So that's helped me refocus where the main part of my business is targeted. And then I take what I've learned there and I teach it to other people and help them build their businesses as well. So if you have a project that hasn't gone the way you thought it would, or you've had to temporarily abandon that project because life happened, I hope this little case study brings you some hope. Take the time to understand the bigger picture and your goals, and then give yourself permission to chip away at it just a little bit at a time, especially if you have to learn new skills in order for your project to be a success. So just be patient with yourself and keep going. You'll be glad you did. And if you'd like to hear more about projects like this one, as well as tips and advice, give me your best contact details and I'll make sure you get those on a regular basis. And to do that, just go to onlinebusinessliftoff.com/newsletter. Give me your best contact details and I'll be in touch. And I will see you next time.